Sometimes. Probably more often you'll find that I just
I'm on
start
the
zoning out
run.
because I've heard all the stories.
No time to speak. I wanna ride like the wind, to be free again.
So far, this is great. Love it. Okay, are we all in the frame? We are all in the
We
frame.
look to all be in the frame.
Hooray! And I don't even have to sit on your lap or anything. This is amazing.
I'm a little bummed out, but
All right. Okay. Hey, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
thank you, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Since I know who you are, but people out in podcast land might not, tell us who you are.
Scott and Josh with Craft Culture Draft Solutions. We are a design.
Oh wait, we'll start over because I need you to. I need your last name so that Rob has it when he's doing his editing.
All right. Done and done.
Okay,
All right.
let's go again. Hey guys, thanks for coming down to the beautiful Arizona Society of Homebrewers Clubhouse to talk on Arizona Beer Frontier.
Awesome, man. Thank you for having us. I'm
Yeah.
Scott Hanback, Josh Burdan. We're the owners of Craft Culture Draft Solutions. We install, design, service draft systems, beverage systems. We mostly do beer, but wine, cocktails on tap, cold brew coffee, all of the things. Anything you want to pour, we can make it happen.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, how did you get in? I mean, you've been doing draft tech and been working in beer forever. Josh, how did you get into this? My timing is always perfect.
Always.
His cough timing is perfect
My
always, too.
cough hangs out with me. I got into it about 10 years ago. My brother-in-law was in the industry, and he moved his family to Texas, to Austin, and asked me to move our family out as well, my wife and our one daughter at the time.
Cool.
So that I could be employee number one for the draft service company that he was starting. Employee number one, not like in status, but just the first one. I didn't know anything. I was completely green. Honestly, I barely even held a drill in my life to that point. So I was extremely green, but I was coachable, teachable, and he was a fantastic teacher. I learned everything from him. Found that I kind of had a knack for it, making walk-in coolers look nice and clean. And then I especially was drawn to the troubleshooting side of it. When there's a weird quirk in a system and things just aren't pouring right, I love hunting it down, fixing it, and making sure that everything's perfect before we leave.
Mm-hmm. So how'd you get to Arizona?
To Arizona. So we're from Arizona. My brother-in-law, my wife, they were born and raised here. My dad's retired Air Force, so we moved around a ton, but my family came here in 2001, graduated from high school here. But yeah, my wife and I, we spent a few years kind of following my brother-in-law around. We moved to California for like 9 months, and then to Texas from there, where the old company started.
Mm-hmm.
And then that company expanded back to Phoenix and brought us all home. That kind of all, it's a longer story, but that company, our time with them came to an end about a year after moving back to Arizona. Scott and I were kind of seeing the writing on the wall and having conversations about starting our thing. And then, it ended and we started. It's been great. It's been a little over 4 years now.
A little over 4 years, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And tell me more of your story.
I have been in draft service, install, and everything for a little over 25 years. I got started on this side of the business working for Hensley Beverage. Draft service, draft install there. His brother-in-law is my best friend.
Convenient.
Yeah, so we actually work at Hensley together. That's where both of us got into that line of work. And when him and I were both new to that department, not really Hensley. Hensley kind of allowed themselves to be pulled into it with a deal between Anheuser-Busch and an Applebee's big franchisee, and Anheuser-Busch was building the perfect pour draft system for them. This was back in around, I think, '06. And so we didn't really do much glycol before that, but Anheuser-Busch came to them and said, you guys seem like you have some good people. Do you know anyone to do these installs for 26 Applebee's in the state? And bosses upstairs in their infinite wisdom said, yeah, our guys can do all of those stores. And
you don't have anything else anyways.
Yeah, right. So mostly overnights. It was quite the ordeal, but it was a baptism by fire for sure. We went headlong into glycol and started learning all of the things. Doing that ended up getting us to actually learn a little bit more about it and understanding more, because mostly the department was just service, direct draw systems, dealing with CO2 leaks and stuff like that until then. But we got to learn a little bit more, going to places like Micromatic. Perlick does the same thing. They have draft schools where you go in and actually get to understand more about draft systems, about BTU loads on a remote system, actually balancing a system, which is one of the things we find is lacking in most companies, is an actual understanding of how to balance a system.
What is balancing a system?
Making sure that no matter how far away you are pouring, whether it's a direct draw system like this, with 6 feet of product line in it, or it's 250 feet away, like at a casino or something, that you are putting the right amount of CO2 volume back on the keg to make sure that the CO2 stays the way that it should, while at the same time having enough applied pressure to push it 6 feet, 250 feet, whatever that is. So if you don't understand that, you're not doing it right, you're not using the right mixture of CO2. Usually they mix with nitrogen. Back in the old days, they used to put air compressors on them. That was a travesty and a crime against beer and humanity.
Do you ever run into those air compressors?
We just ran into one recently, actually, yeah.
About a 30-year-old Red Lobster that has one sitting up on top of the walk-in.
We're getting ready to completely redo their system.
Trying to fix that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm.
That was the first one I came across, because I haven't been doing this as long as Scott, but I knew exactly what was going on. I'm like, oh man, this beer is cardboard. I'm like, there's no chance.
Oh, God.
And I mean, up until that one, I had not run into an air one probably since back when I worked at Hensley, and there were a couple. I mean, and they were old then, and I mean, I haven't been there since 2015, so it was probably back in '06, '08, a couple of bars around town that were still running that system, and it was the old timer that was in the department back then. That I was like, what is happening here? He's like, oh, it's a mixed system, and they're using air to do it. I'm like, why? Well, it's less expensive, and that's the way they decided to do it.
So explain to me why, on a long draw system, generally like a direct draw, which is like through the wall of the walk-in, or like this, where it's a kegerator, and you're not pushing beer very far. So that people just use regular CO2, right?
Usually, yes. Sometimes when it's through a cooler wall, if it's a large walk-in cooler and a larger system, a lot of times we'll still go ahead and use a mixed gas on there. It gives you a little more flexibility. Sometimes that run from where a keg is on the far side is long enough that by the time it gets to the shank, the faucet, you're kind of on the edge of where you can be for straight CO2. Get a little more flexibility and easier to dial in. It's been my experience that no matter how many threats you make as an owner or a manager for people to not touch the draft system, because when we get done, they really shouldn't touch the regulator. Everything has been balanced and figured out. Where we leave it is exactly where the pressure should be.
Using math.
Yes, using math and science.
Yes.
So it's exactly where it should be, but inevitably someone will come in and go, oh, I used to work at Chili's. And I know you're right on the other side of the wall here, but at Chili's, the pressure was,
25.
24, 25 pounds.
Yeah.
So let me crank it up. And then you get a phone call like, I don't know, it's coming out like a fire hose and foamy. Well, it is, because it's a direct draw system and someone cranked it up.
Yeah.
When I worked at Hensley, I had a wine place up in northern Arizona. I was doing craft beer sales at the time, but they would call me whenever they had a draft problem and see what was going on, and his wine was coming out like a fire hose. It was all direct draw wine, and wine lines have very little restriction in them anyway. That's like 6-7 psi. Went in there, went to pour a glass of wine, nice shape of a wine glass, open it up and it just hits, and tidal waves out. I'm like, okay, that's definitely too high. And someone had turned it up to like 24 psi. Because he worked at a Chili's, and that's where theirs was. And like, that's not how it works.
Careful with the Chili's hating, man.
No,
That's my first bartending gig.
Chili's is great, but a job at Chili's does not give you a solid introduction or qualification to start messing with the draft system for sure.
Yeah,
leave that to the professionals. Yeah.
My first year as a brewer, I went to CBC in Portland, and I took the day-long micromatic class. Mm-hmm. Like, you go in a day early and you're there for 8 hours.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you're like, I'm in 8 days, sure.
Yeah.
But 8 hours was a lot for
Yeah.
someone. And it was, you walked away with so much knowledge, and they gave you books and like.
Yeah, it's a pretty comprehensive, especially considering the short amount of time you're in there. I actually worked for Micromatic for a couple of years, even though I had a lot of draft experience. When I started, they still wanted me to go to the draft school. They just want everyone to do that. Mm-hmm. And it's a great class. The one I went to, there were a lot of like salespeople, beer distributors send their people out there to them. I find that is not super beneficial, just because they never do this stuff. So it's information that goes in and then leaves because they don't really do it.
Right, they go to an account, the account says, oh, this beer is foamy.
Yeah.
And now theoretically they know what to do, but if you haven't done it or looked at the book for 8 months.
Yep. So we took
it's
our
very
guys.
technical.
We took our guys to the Micromatic one out in LA.
Back in December.
Last year, and that was one of the things that we had talked about. I wanted them to work for us for a while and get at least a foundational understanding of what it is we do and why, and then take them out there, and that has so much more benefit because they already understand some things, but then all of the guys that they have teaching over at Micromatic are super knowledgeable. They're really, really good, and they're pretty strong at teaching. They do a great job, and the guys got a ton out of it. It's a great class.
Cool.
So.
Cool. All right. Well, let's see. If there was something that you wish consumers knew about draft systems, do you have a top thing?
So many things.
They don't interact with the system much, but I think like a knowledge about something.
I would say probably a top two. One is cleaning. There are so many people that don't understand how important cleaning is. Keg beer is not pasteurized, unless they're shipping it over from Europe or something. But it's not pasteurized, so that means that the yeast is still alive. It's still active in there. It's, affected by temperature, all of these things, and you have to clean that line. It's a living food product. And we've just recently had a couple of different homeowners give us a call that have draft systems, and they're asking about some things, and that's a big one that they never get cleaned ever.
Right.
Or a system that's inside of an office somewhere where they offer beer and they don't understand that needs to be done. And people.
It's not like they're distributors coming in and cleaning the lines at Bob's Law Office.
Yeah, it's not.
Call Rafi and tell him to clean his lines.
Yeah, it's not a retail location or. An on-premise place where they're selling kegs of beer for consumers to come in and drink. It's just an office that usually they're going to a Bevmo or someplace
Total
like that
Wine,
and getting kegs, so they're not
kegs.
even getting it from a distributor.
Right.
And them finding out, they call us and its system's been in there for 2 or 3 years, sometimes longer. And it needs to be cleaned. They go, oh, I've never heard that before. And that's probably the biggest one because it's obviously it affects the flavor of the beer, all of that. But going that long without any cleaning, things can get pretty gnarly in there. And then another kind of 101 thing is how much temperature and pressure affect everything. we get a lot of things aren't pouring right, and it's because either they didn't understand how to put it together and balance it, or temperature's off. It's a keg that's outside, in the Arizona heat, and there's no cold air even, and outside cold air trying to keep it cold anyway is hard enough, but no cold air blowing into a tower. That thing's struggling to keep the temperature even of the keg down. Those are the big ones that I think that would be most important for people to just kind of 101 know.
So if we look at this system right here behind us, we have a tower that has 2 columns holding it up.
Yep.
And there should be a fan that's blowing the cold air up into that.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. So it's circulating. So it's circulating the air too. That's another. We get people sometimes they'll just blow air in, but there's the space for the lines to go in and the hose to go in. It makes it so tight that now there's nowhere for the air to go. So it's just blowing into the system and dying in there. It's not actually circulating air through anything, and you're having temperature problems there too, because without that circulation, it's not really doing anything. And asking air to do your cooling is a big enough hill to get over anyway. When we do a remote system, those things are using glycol to make contact with everything, and that glycol is running at like 29 degrees through the system to give you a beer that's 36, 38 when it comes out of the faucet. When you're using air to do it, your cooler is 36 to 38, and you're trying to get air to keep everything cool, and it just doesn't.
No, it takes so
It doesn't,
long.
yeah.
So like a keg sitting in there for 2 days is going to be eventually come down.
Yeah.
But you can't cool anything down sitting in there.
No,
Like if
you
you have a
can't.
warm keg and put it in there, it's going to be warm for at least 2 days.
Yeah, solidly.
If people have a home kegerator with a single tower, maybe 1 or 2 6-barrel kegs in there, how do you keep that tower cold?
Needs it needs a blower. Some units are built to where there's like a scoop in there and it catches some of the cold air getting blown in, sends it up a tube into the tower, or you add a fan to it. A lot of small kegerators that you can buy on Amazon and all that stuff.
Costco.
Yeah, they're cheaply made and very inexpensive, and for that reason, so those ones you almost have to just live with it. You're gonna have
A lot of them
foam
just
before
like
you-
pack a bunch of insulation in the
Yeah.
tower, right?
Yeah.
And then they're
that's
like,
not
oh, as the
doing it.
beer goes through, it'll be cold, and so why would we need to
Yep.
make it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't really work.
Yeah, and as soon as that beer leaves the cold air, it's warming up.
Yeah.
And it only takes a couple of degrees. That's temperature affects CO2 also. As it gets much colder, the CO2 gets lazier. As it warms up, you get above 38, and CO2 starts wanting to break out and get wild, which is giving you foamy beer. And if you don't have cold air going in there, then that's all it's doing. As soon as it leaves that box, it's getting warm up there. It only takes a few minutes for it to start doing that. And you see a lot of that with these systems where it's not getting cold enough. They go to pour beer, and you get a blast of foam, maybe for a second, maybe for 3 seconds, and then it finally gets cold because you're getting the cold beer from the keg that's cooling everything down, and they can start pouring a beer. So you'll see it all of the time. Bartender goes to pour, and they're just pouring it down the drain. Finally, it clears up, and then they put the glass in there, and that waste is, if you're at home, I guess it is what it is.
Yeah, we don't care.
But when you're a retailer and you're actually selling that beer, that's all just money. That's your margin going down the drain. And I mean, I see probably an average. It's one of the things we've been working on, trying to get people to understand the value of having the proper beer system so that you're getting the 95% keg yield that you should expect from a draft system, and the average is maybe 75-80% keg yield. And I'm working on one place right now that their keg yield is it's like 68% keg yield. And that's just an unfathomable amount of money to be pouring down.
32% of your beer is just going straight down the
Yeah.
drain that
Yeah.
you paid for.
Yeah.
Yes.
And in a
Ouch.
well balanced, well maintained system, 95 is the number. That's always what we're targeting. So it's achievable. We've done it. So you've seen our event trailer out and about. We actually had it at a very large event not too long ago, and over at Sana.
Yeah.
For World
Shout
Cup.
out Sana. It was
Right.
awesome. It was a great experience. But we were able to note that in a trailer, an event trailer, basically an over-engineered jockey box is what we built in there.
It is quite over-engineered. I've
Yeah,
seen
It's
the
very
inside.
over-engineered. We were showing off.
But yeah, we're definitely showing off. But what we built into it and some of the elements we added to it, to kind of flex what we do, we were getting 95% out of an event
Right.
jockey box trailer, which is
In the summertime.
in the summertime. Yeah, on an asphalt lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's these things are totally achievable, but it takes a little bit of more effort to do it. And I think that's part of where that's part of the battle we're fighting is for how big of a margin it is at a bar or restaurant. It's so ignored.
Right.
Like how well a draft system needs to be built to get the most out of it. And over the years, historically, it's ignored, and it's weird. It's weird to us why you would ignore a thing that's one of your top,
Costs
revenue
and
streams.
and where you make your money.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
liquor and it's draft.
Yeah.
Right. So, we want everybody to understand that if you get the most out of your draft system, it helps with all those other things that are tighter down the road. Food costs are tight, labor is tight, all that stuff is tight, but you're letting all this money go down the drain on a poorly built system. If you pay a little bit more attention over here, it kind of helps all these other really tight areas of your business, and it relieves some of that pressure, and that's really kind of our, gospel that we're preaching right now. So.
I went to a brewery one day, and their bartenders regularly just set the glass under
It
the
hurts my
faucet,
soul.
and then, of course, grab the top
From the top.
Yeah.
of the handle and pull forward,
Yep.
and just let it fill up until it overflowed
Yeah.
all the foam and there was liquid.
Yes.
But when beer pours into foam, what do you get?
Yeah.
You get
More foam.
Foam.
Yeah.
Get more foam.
So
Yeah,
that can
it's
be a long
so-
time of pouring.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And literally cooling that glass as it goes.
Yeah. Yeah, and I came from the bar business before I worked for Hensley, and that was a thing as a bar manager that used to drive me insane the number of times I would see, especially if you're in a place where they do pitchers.
Yeah.
That was almost exclusively how they would pour a pitcher. Just
Put it
stick
on
it under there and walk away and do other things. And I would just watch, and not just the loss and the money, but it's also one of the things we run into, that drip tray that is underneath the tower is exactly what they call it. It is a drip tray. It is meant to catch the excess drips that come from a faucet whenever you're done pouring, not a pour tray.
Yeah.
It's not, there's not, unless you have a custom one made, there's not a drain that's large enough to compensate for all of that foam
Yeah.
and beer that's trying to go down. And you end up with, you end up with beer spillage on the floor, and you end up eventually over time, the silicone around the tray breaks down, and it's on a wood bar top, and so it seeps underneath, and you get,
You're
gets
grossing me out, dude.
So it gets so gnarly. I've taken drip trays off to some of the most disgusting, disturbing things that to try and clean it up and take care of it for them, and then.
But even the drip tray drain hose.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah,
the
it's-
thing I've seen.
It's just a gravity feed, and that's the thing. I'll see it. It goes underneath, and then it makes a loop, and kind of so you have plumbing words are
P
hard.
trap?
Yes, there you go. You have a little, almost a makeshift P trap under there. So it's just a gravity feed. That beer just sits there. Yeast buildup gets in there. I would get those calls all the time too. Our drain isn't draining. Okay, well, it's because it's filled with yeast.
Pink slime, baby.
Yeah, and it was a thing at Hensley in the draft department. We had line cleaners there, and I would try and get the line cleaners to do this as a rule when we would train them, and it's something that we try and tell our guys to do too. When you do a line cleaning and you get that chemical out of the drain or out of the faucet, then rather than pour it in the sink, pour it down that in that drip tray and let it run down there and at least help alleviate some of that too.
Yeah.
You get rid of a lot of that yeast. You're pouring it down. You got a couple of 2-gallon buckets.
Right.
And pour it down there, and you'll get rid of that, which alleviates the fruit flies, a lot of the little things that bars have to deal with because they're attracted to that sugary yeast that's inside that thing.
Right.
And those are things that you can do that, they don't cost you anything to do, and tell these places to not put bleach down there. I'm not supposed to be using it anyway, but anything that has chlorine in it is doing damage to your stainless steel.
Mm-hmm.
So, those welds, it finally breaks it down. That's why you're getting leaks underneath the drip tray. There's a bunch of little things that are happening because you're trying to take care of one problem and you're creating another problem whenever you do it.
So what about like biologic enzyme that they sell at all the stores for like keeping your disposer clean or whatever, or RV, like RV, that's a thing, like RV
Yeah.
tank cleaner. It's just enzymes. Are those good? Are those bad?
I have never even attempted to use anything like that in a draft system. The only thing I've ever seen someone use that is a problem, talking about RV things, is they'll get the maintenance guy that works for them to take care of their glycol chiller, and instead of buying the proper food grade propylene glycol, they go and get the RV antifreeze.
Ooh.
And now you're pushing that through in a bundle with a food product, which is 1, dangerous, and 2, against the law. But they do it because then it's a thing where so much of what we do is you don't know what you don't know. They don't know any better. They just think
And someone told them.
Yeah, and someone said,
Just go down
just
to-
use this.
Go to
and-
AutoZone and get some antifreeze.
Yep.
Just use that. It'll work fine.
Yep. And you're kind of rolling the dice there. There's a lot of bad things that can come from that. Same with line cleaning. If people aren't paying attention with line cleaning, that line cleaner is caustic. If you leave it inside of a line, and it has happened around the country. I know of at least one instance years ago here in town where it happened. Line cleaner got left in a line, and then a customer came in and got a beer that was, half line cleaner,
Caustic.
half beer. And the line cleaner they were using was clear. It didn't have a color. Everything we use has a color in it, so it's kind of a purple. With beer, it might turn kind of green, but you'll definitely notice a color difference there. This wasn't, and a customer took a big drink of caustic, and entire esophagus was.
What is caustic?
It's an alkaline cleaner,
Right.
and it is really, really bad for your insides.
So like bleach is alkaline.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's a different type.
It is. It's
but
a
it's
different
just
type.
like drinking a glass of bleach.
It is, yeah.
Yes.
And for line cleaners, we tell guys to wear gloves because, again, using the color is a benefit when you're cleaning, and you can see it finally turn clear rather than putting your hand under there. It's really slick when you're cleaning. So when it was clear stuff, I went through it when I was cleaning lines years ago, and I would go like this under the faucet waiting for it to stop being slick because it was a clear cleaner. And it's really, really hard on your hands too. Dries everything out. They start cracking and all of that. So as bad as it is for your outsides, it's infinitely worse for your insides. So it's something that you really have to pay attention to. If you have someone cleaning your lines, you should be paying attention to what they're doing. It would be a good idea to know they're there, and then maybe go and check your faucets. Check your beers, make sure everything looks like it's pouring beer. And all of that, because it's a liability. It's a giant liability. And then when a customer comes in and does that, trust me, they are going to sue everyone.
Oh yeah, and
Yeah.
forget about trying to get insurance again.
Yeah.
Like forget
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
Okay, so turning a little bit to more fun and friendly things. Tell me about some of the coolest draft systems that you've installed, other than your amazing trailer.
Yeah.
It is pretty awesome.
It's pretty awesome.
Probably the most notable jobs that we've worked on. We've had some cool ones in town, but our time in Texas, we got to do.
We got some really cool
was a
stuff there.
120 tap festival location in New Braunfels called Worst Fest. The tower's massive and weighs literal ton.
Over 3,000 pounds,
Yeah.
the tower. It was a 10-inch industrial iron or steel pipe
Yeah.
with 120 faucets. It took 2 forklifts and 8 guys to
Yeah.
get that tower put up on the bar top
And then-
that they built for it.
Yeah, and then the festival serves in pitchers.
And is that 120 draft lines in one
120
pipe?
draft lines.
Yeah,
yes.
yes. And yeah, it came in like 5 different sections. Wow. And then every 2 faucets, so a pair of faucets is the exact same product. The reason they did that is because they're pouring in pitchers. And then the other challenge they had for us is they wanted to pour a pitcher in 12 seconds. So they can literally pour, turn, and hand it off to customers.
64-ounce pitchers.
Yep. And
Wow.
so this was with the old company that shall not be named. But it was, Scott and I, the rest of the team, great friend of ours, Michael, who really had probably the biggest hand in working out all the math on making everything
Super
flow.
smart
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah. Making everything flow correctly. But we achieved that. We had to up the volume of pressure of CO2 being sent to the system for the size of the system, for the potential that, a dozen of these faucets will be open all at the same time. It's got to not fall off on pressure. We had to count all these things, and
Right.
and we nailed it. It worked out. The cooler is absolutely massive. It's the biggest thing, like the biggest cooler I've ever been in to date. The tower is extremely impressive, and it worked. And they literally, I mean, it's a very pricey system, what they put together there. They paid for it in the first day of their festival. They're open like 9 days a year for the festival, and that's the only time that location is used.
They did this entire thing. They already had a kind of it's Wurstfest. It's a kind of a German festival a few weeks after Oktoberfest, and they have kind of a little German village that has a bunch of walk-in coolers, direct draw. So there's a bunch of beer being sold in other locations. They built this location specifically for this thing, and like he said, first day they were in the black. It was completely paid off. They're open 9 days a year, open for 0 other things.
Wow.
They did it all for this 9 days, and they averaged over 9 days like 372 kegs a day. Over 9 days.
Yeah.
Like, completely insane, bananas. And like he said, with that system, they wanted
Over 3,000 kegs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's a big walk-in.
Yeah. It's a big walk-in. They just smashed it out of the park. And that pouring, they want a 64-ounce pitcher to be poured in that time, and it needs to be perfect. They want 1.5 inches, 2 inches, no more than 2 inches of head on it. So we made that happen. It poured a perfect 64-ounce pitcher in like 10.6 seconds.
Yeah. That's what
I can't even imagine. Like, do you have to use mixed gas for that?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, there were a couple of Green Air Supply is a company that builds nitrogen generators. We had a couple of their heaviest duty nitrogen generators in there. And it's just a non-stop onslaught of people changing kegs and keeping going. There's a big concrete bar between where you're pouring and where the bar for people picking up beers is. And they're just pouring pitchers and setting them behind them, pouring pitchers, setting them behind them. It never stops for 9 days.
How many kegs do they chain?
No, they don't. They
didn't.
They're not in sequence.
Yeah,
what they do, however, is they have, when the festival's going full bore, they have staff in the walk-in.
Full-time
Yeah,
staff
sure.
in the walk.
Standing there watching the
Fobs.
fobs.
Yep.
And as it kicks, they immediately turn around and
Yep.
tap.
Is there an
things. It's like-
electronic fob alert sensor that would like beep beep beep?
I
beep?
mean, those. I gotta imagine those exist. There are electronic fobs with sensors and stuff with all the beer board and self pour systems and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I wouldn't doubt that exists.
They didn't use them.
But
They
no,
just
they
used
didn't.
their
They-
eyeballs
yeah,
and
they
watched
just-
that little float.
Watch it happen.
Yeah, multiple guys inside that giant walk-in cooler, just constantly running kegs,
Yep,
changing
throwing kegs
kegs,
around.
and going.
Yeah.
And like I said, that was a smash hit. Everyone was super excited about how well it went.
Yep.
That's probably the most interesting one we've done. We've done a couple of other really interesting ones too.
Yeah. Again with back in Texas, Pine House Round Rock is notable. Huge, walk-in cooler for their new production facility. I think it's still their main production facility.
No, they built another production facility that's just a tap room that
Yeah.
was larger because they sold so much beer.
Gotcha.
But at the time, that became their production facility.
But that one had 8 bright tanks on service, and then we built it to where it was. We love building them to where they're flexible, and as brewers or beverage managers or whatever have ideas, we make it flexible to where we can easily switch flip a switch on their system and they can do something different. That place was able to go between 3 different mixed gases and swap out couplers and do all kinds of different stuff.
Do they have an automatic line cleaning system?
They don't.
Oh my God.
Nope.
There's always thoughts on that. The autos. There's like semi-auto line cleaning systems, and then I know we've talked to a couple of companies about self-cleaning and how that would work. There's some interesting roadblocks to overcome. With those.
You still need to have a well-trained staff to use
Yes,
those systems,
100%.
and that turnover is the killer
Yep.
on all of that stuff.
Absolutely, yep. Draft systems in town, though. Let's talk about ones we've done under our name, not the old stuff.
Wren House.
Wren House, yeah. We've done
Yeah.
a lot of interesting stuff for Wren House. Yeah, Sud Hall, the Ahwatukee location, and then PV, Paradise Valley.
Paradise Valley.
I always get it wrong.
Yes.
I say Palo Verde, and it's not Palo Verde. I get it mixed up all the time. Yeah, Paradise Valley is really interesting. They got, we did 4 beer engines for them, so they could do cask service there. And I brag on Kyle, who works over there. That location, I love what they did. It's a nice little loophole they found, but they've made it a production facility,
Right.
because they condition the casks on site. So they don't do any true, full
Yeah,
production.
they
brewing
get
over
work.
They're not brewing over there, but because they do the cask conditioning there, they've helped themselves with regards to the liquor license and all that stuff to make that happen, which I love. I love making things work to make your business work.
Yeah.
Yeah, that system's great. Like I said, Sud Hall's great. They got 8 Lucre faucets on a dual service tower beside their 20 dual service? No.
It's 12 and 12 on the main one for all of their ales, and that was a custom design towers, dual service, big Y pipes.
So
over
dual
there.
service meaning that they have faucets on
On both sides. They can serve out of both, either side of the bar, and then
And
the other
products
tower.
are mirrored.
Yeah.
Number 1 on that side is the same as number 1.
And then the other tower is strictly Lucre faucets for that one.
Do you have to do different gas for Lucre faucets or no?
Nope.
No, it's same gas.
Same.
Yeah.
And
Has a
they,
restrictor
yeah,
plate.
and they have a lot of adjustability in that faucet, which is one of the things we get. A lot of people want to use flow control faucets. The way that the Lucre is designed makes it more flexible in how much flow control it has. Your standard flow control faucets for just a standard faucet, it's pretty limited in its adjustability, but some.
Oh, we'll put that on at Chili's and see what's happening.
Well, it's one of the things that I always caution people when they say they want one. Some people really love the idea of it, but it's a little more complicated than you're just going to toy with it. The adjustability is not very wide, but it also means that you now have a faucet that has some limited availability in parts if something goes wrong with it. They're expensive faucets, and not everyone is just keeping parts around for those faucets. So if the system is designed correctly and balanced correctly, a standard faucet is going to pour a perfect beer for you every time. And if something breaks, even if you can't get a hold of anyone, every distributor has a draft service team for little things like that. They all have the guts for those faucets.
Right.
So it makes them, eminently fixable very, very simply. And you're not like, well, my faucet went down. Cool, I'll order that for you. And
Yeah.
we'll talk to you in a week or so.
Right. If
And
it's a universal faucet, it's
Yeah, if it's
pretty easy to
universal,
fix,
it can
yeah.
be fixed. You can put something in it and you can make it happen.
So like Perlix?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they've
I had the bad Perlick design faucets on my kegerator.
Yeah, the old
It
ones.
sucked.
The old ones, yeah.
No, they redesigned them and they messed something up and they just sucked.
Gotcha.
And then they redesigned them again like a year later and they were great.
It's
fine.
been tough for me with that one. Perlick does a lot of great stuff, well built things. But I was in draft service for Hensley when that first design of that faucet, that forward closing faucet, came out, and the number of calls that I had to go on, and then talking to them, and send a rebuild kit, and it still wasn't right, and it gave me such a bad taste.
At one point,
That it really was hard to get over.
Me too.
Yeah. Remind me, you'll remember better than I do, but didn't at one point they were instructing technicians not to take the faucets apart because of how many problems were occurring that nobody was putting them back together correctly. So they were like, you know what, don't take them apart. Just take it off, throw a brush in there on the front side and the back side, and then throw it back on there.
Yeah, in the early days, that was a thing,
Yeah.
telling people to not do that, and that was kind of one of the, it was a thing that I didn't hear it from a Perlick person, but I would hear it all around, like, well, these are, the way these faucets are designed, you don't need to take the faucet off and clean it. And I'm like, that's not a thing.
Right.
It's not a thing.
Biology
You have to-
disagrees.
That doesn't sound right at all.
Science says no.
Right.
It isn't, there aren't as many things inside to build up as there are on a standard faucet, but you can't just ignore it and pretend it's not a thing.
How about self-closing faucets?
Oh, I hate those too.
Why? You don't like a spring in your
No.
hairline?
Especially when they're like old brass springs, the old ones, the chrome plated brass ones. And then again, they wear out. It's just another thing. And
I
then
tell you, I
those
do
get all
love.
pitted, and
I do love them on a jockey box at a festival, though.
Oh sure.
Like
they,
place and time. But
Yeah, there's a
not
place and
standard,
time.
yeah.
The idea makes sense, right? Because usually you're using them in a situation to where Joe customers walking up and serving something themselves, and you can't count on them to shut it correctly or shut it and then it bounces back and they've already turned their back and now the faucet's open. We've had customers with draft systems and like office spaces and stuff like that. Like Indeed was a big customer of ours back in Texas. But we would get calls from them all the time. Our keg leaked out, the faucet's leaking. I'm like, no, just random person doesn't know how to shut a beer faucet.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and you have hundreds of employees here. I can't train them all. I'm like, but so in
Here's how you open it. Here's how you close it.
In
You have to close it.
Yeah, in that situation, it makes perfect sense to have a self-closing with that extra spring behind it. But that extra spring's just another component that can disrupt the beer, cause foam,
Oh, yeah.
add bacteria, all the nasty stuff that comes with it. So
And then you just need to make sure you're maintaining it even better.
Yes,
Which
yes.
they don't do.
they don't.
They don't, and it's line cleaners. It's a really tough job to hire for. I learned that when I worked for Hensley, because it's a entry level position. They're not expected to know a lot of things, but when you've never done it, you've never really worked with beer before. When you're first learning that, it seems very overwhelming. There's all of these parts you've never dealt with before. You're trying to learn what they are and what they do. And it seems, when you first learn, like, I don't know how this could ever work. And then, a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks for a slow learner into cleaning lines, it all just kind of snaps into focus. And then it becomes the most monotonous thing you've ever done
Oh, yeah.
in history. And then so that leads to a lot of, guys ignoring things and taking shortcuts and all of that stuff. That was a policy I had when I was training line cleaners. And there's another company around town that does line cleaning.
Contract basis, yeah.
I won't say any names or anything because I'm not here to blow anyone up, but they hired a guy to be the manager over that, and he would teach guys the shortcuts
So that
on
they
how to
could get
through,
more
because
accounts.
it's logistically it's a hard thing to do. To clean all of these taps everywhere, you have a limited amount of time. You've got a long list of things. It's easy to just go, okay, I did it enough, and I'm out the door. So he would teach guys shortcuts. I have a policy of never teaching anyone a shortcut to anything because I understand human nature. And human nature dictates that Once you know something, you will find shortcuts that work for you. So if I teach you shortcuts, you're going to shortcut my shortcuts. And that's going to lead to a bunch of problems. So if they just teach them the right way to do it, they understand the right way to do it, and then when they get caught doing shortcuts, you can have a conversation of, hey, you're not doing it right because I taught you the right way to do it, not, well, I did teach you how to do shortcuts, and it's a bad way to start.
Would you consider not taking the faucet off during cleaning a shortcut?
Oh,
yes, 100%.
awesome.
And that's something that happens a lot, right?
All the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
So they'll go in, they'll hook up their cleaning keg to the line, they'll let it soak for however long, like 2 minutes.
Yep.
And
Which
then,
it should be, in a static cleaning, it should be 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah.
That it should soak. That rarely happens, if ever.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You're lucky. You might get that if you have a large system, like if you have a 20 faucet system. By the time they're done putting soap in everything, then faucet one probably has had enough contact. But yeah, they'll let it happen for a couple of minutes, but it should be 15 to 20 if people don't know. Sorry, continue.
No, that was exactly what we were looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then taking the faucets off and cleaning them, which, again, I think I've never seen done by a draft tech.
Yeah.
Very rarely. I mean, never is obviously not fair, but they run it through and they say, look, the cleaner went through it. It's
Yep.
clean.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you see a lot of that. And it's a faucet. There's a bunch of parts inside of it. There are a bunch of nooks and crannies for things to get into and just sit there. And even if you're letting it soak, it's not soaking inside that faucet. The faucet is now clear of what you ran through. It's only soaking where it's making contact inside that line. So yeah, it happens all of the time. I mean, there are bigger issues than that even. There's places, and I try and tell all of our customers, we offer line cleaning, but it is not a thing that we're not looking for a bunch of line cleaning work. If I'm not coming in and cleaning all of the faucets in your establishment, it doesn't really make sense for us to
And here's
do.
the problem. People want to know how much does it cost for every line that you clean.
Yeah.
And if you're cleaning 2 faucets and you have a quote of $15 every time I clean them,
Yeah.
I'm sending a guy out to set up a cleaning regimen and I'm getting paid $30.
Yeah.
And like you're saying, if you've got 20 faucets,
Right.
now that's worth
Now it makes
sending
sense.
a guy out
Right.
and spending a few hours doing it.
And here, our distributors here in Arizona do the line cleaning for places. So they're doing it as a service for these people, which, amounts to free. I'm sure they're, in the math, when you're in big business, it's worked in there for them somehow. But it's hard to tell someone, okay, this is how much it's going to cost if you want us to come do it correctly.
Right, because I'm used to getting it done for
Because
free.
this guy will come in for free. But the thing I do tell them is pay attention. These guys, they have to get done early. Most of them are trying to be out of here before you open. So it means, when I did line cleaning, I was starting at 6 a.m. So managers, a lot of people aren't around. There might be kitchen staff there.
Mm-hmm.
So I've talked to managers before. They said, I never see a guy in here. Well, I know that he's in here. I've seen him in here, but it's because you're not here. You don't see him. But you should find a way to confirm when people are there, and then pay attention to what it is that they're doing. You get guys sometimes will go in and wipe down a faucet and sign a sticker and roll out because they know no one's paying attention, and they've got a list of 25 places that they have to hit today
Before noon.
Yeah. And that's really impossible to do correctly and hit all of those stops. So that kind of stuff starts happening, and as a business owner, it's incumbent upon you to pay attention to what they're doing, because no matter whose beer is pouring through that faucet, that system belongs to you. It's all yours. Everything on there is yours. Anything that someone comes in and fixes for you as a favor has done you a favor. Those things belong to you. And the times that I've gone out to a place and they have foamy beer, and it's a remote system with glycol chill. Cool, where is your glycol chiller? And they go, I don't know what you're talking about. All right, well, I'm pretty sure I'm going to find the problem. So then I go find it. When was the last time this was serviced? Well, your guys come out here every 2 weeks. No, they do not.
Right.
They come in here and clean your lines. They have nothing to do with this. That's completely outside of anything that any distributor is doing for you.
Yeah.
That's for people.
They're not even looking at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, your engine starts knocking and finally stops working, and go, okay, where's the engine at on this car? And they go, I don't know. So it's a thing that needs to be serviced, especially here in Arizona. It's super hot. A minimum of once a year, you should be having that glycol chiller checked out. Check for your glycol levels. That glycol breaks down over time, becomes more water. The times I've opened up a bath and it's a giant block of ice, well, there's your problem. It's not circulating anything through.
Yeah.
That's why your beer is 73 degrees, because it's doing nothing. And now the glycol that used to cool that pump hasn't been doing it for I don't know how long.
So now
that's
the pump's
probably
burned out.
Yeah, that's probably burned out now too. So if you just take care of it, then a lot of those issues are alleviated, and that thing can last for a good long time.
Right. Well, I don't know a whole lot more. So what services do you offer as far as what brewers and breweries might be interested in? Do you do any like backhouse glycol stuff, or do you just strictly stick with draft?
It's mostly just draft. I have worked on a couple of industrial glycol chillers a couple of times, but it's not really the bulk of the work. We have ideas and thoughts, and we're happy to talk to any brewer about it. But no, usually we're not handling the glycol system on an actual production setup. So it is mostly draft. What we find with breweries, one, they care more. That's why we love going to breweries and drinking at breweries, because they want their stuff to be clean. I don't think I've ever met a brewer who's like, no, we don't care about cleaning lines.
It's been a while, but I have.
I mean, yeah. Or those who don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
You're right.
And
That
it's
exists.
Sanitation.
They all know. Some of them, a few of them may ignore it, but they know. So, kind of our focus, especially with regards to breweries, is we're trying to be part of the community, right? So, because we know that when a bar or restaurant comes to town that needs a brand new draft system, regardless if the place the brewery set their stuff up themselves or not, when somebody else comes to town and they're looking to start a craft beer bar, a tap room or something, we know that if we're part of the community and all the brewers understand that we care about their product being presented the way they intended, that we're going to be the ones that they send them to, right? So most brewers know what needs to be done, and oftentimes they take care of it themselves. So usually they're not our biggest customers, besides like new tap rooms for like Rent House and stuff like that. But cleanings and service and all that stuff, we offer all those things. We offer quarterly cleanings for a system, preventative maintenance for your glycol chillers on your draft system, and things like that. But really the biggest push we like doing is we want to be part of the community. We want to make sure that everybody knows who we are, knows that we care, knows that we're a small business and all we're doing is trying to help other small businesses succeed, so that when there's something interesting or new happening, we get to be involved. So.
And we offer our knowledge for free all of the time.
All the time.
All of the time. I tell people all the time, our customers and other people, call us, we'll answer. If we don't answer, we'll call you back. It is, service is a thing that we do, and it's part of our business. But if someone calls me from the other side of town and they're having a pouring problem, if you can give me 5 or 10 minutes on the phone and check a couple of things, I can help you for free. It's not going to cost you anything, and it's not going to cost you the time you're not selling beer between now and the time it takes us to get over there and do it. If you just give us a few minutes on the phone, we can probably find out what it is. Usually you're out of gas, or
Temperature of your cooler.
Temperature of
Or
cooler,
your keg,
or the keg. You think that your keg is not empty, and it is, because someone accidentally swapped either the handles, or they accidentally hooked up this handle to the wrong keg. So you go back and you're going, no, that keg is full. It's not, because it's actually hooked up to something else. And when I go into the walk-in cooler and I reach back across 3 kegs and grab a half barrel and pull it out like this, it's not because I'm super strong, it's because it's empty.
You are super strong, though.
Yeah, I am strong,
Yes,
but
it's true.
not strong enough for full kegs. No one-armed lifts with full kegs. So those are things that we, and we do it with brewers. We have brewers, really good relationships with a lot of breweries around Arizona, and we get calls all the time. Hey, do you have this thing? Or hey, this is going on. Do you have any thoughts? And that's just stuff that we do because we love the craft beer community. And, I grew up in the Midwest, and community was just a thing I grew up with. And craft beer is one of those things that's still left in the world where it really is a community.
And people care about each other.
And people care about each other.
Beyond the dollars.
Even when they're in competition with each other, when someone needs help, you see a bunch of people jump up and say, I got you. Come over, pick up what you need, or I'll drop it off. And I love that. I think that the world is a better place when we're doing those things, and there's not enough of it out there. So being really involved in craft beer where that still exists, I feel like is it's good for my soul for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's just good. Like, it's good for people generally. Get out there and talk to each other.
Yeah. Well, we had a customer up in Flagstaff call us that was out of CO2, and they're bar, tap room, and it was a long weekend, 4th of July weekend or something like that, just recently, and they're like, hey, we're completely out of CO2. We don't know what to do. Like, that nobody's open.
Yeah.
What are we gonna do? I'm like, well, I can't really fix your problem. I'm 2.5 hours away.
And I'm not a CO2 provider.
Yeah, exactly.
tanks
We don't.
sitting
Yeah,
around.
we don't stock CO2 and stuff like that. And so checked supply houses around town, made sure that there wasn't anybody open. There wasn't. Checked a couple of, occasionally there might be like some welding supply stuff or whatever.
Right.
None of them were open. And then I asked Scott, and he's like, send him over to the brewery. Send him over to where'd we send him?
Mother Road,
I
Dark
told
Sky,
him,
Lumberyard.
Dark Sky.
he's on
Yeah.
he's on South San Francisco, so he's right in the heart of that beer community. I know all the taps you have. There's going to be local breweries that you're getting beer from, so I'm guessing you have some relationships. Reach out to those guys. They
Right.
probably have an extra tank.
Yep.
And
They'll be there and they'll
you're
help you
already
out.
selling their beer. Call them up and say, "Can you help me out?" Because certainly someone will.
Yeah,
It's just what the community
it is
does.
such an easy suggestion. Like every brewery owner that we've met.
I mean,
can't wait
look,
to help you
breweries
out with
have jockey boxes, which means they have
Yeah.
20-pound
Right,
tanks,
right.
which means they're not using them today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they'll get you.
And they will
Absolutely.
get you some
They'll get you
They
through
will
a
get you
weekend.
something,
Yeah,
yes.
absolutely.
And he ended up getting taken care of.
Yep,
So,
absolutely.
like I said, that's a big thing for us, is being a part of the community.
Cool.
Did you die there?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't think so. That's why we were redundant.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know, whatever.
Right.
Also, these actually are recording
Perfect.
on themselves as well, so at
Yeah.
least we'll have audio.
Oh, you got all the things.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Rob set me up real good.
Yeah, right?
Real good. Well, I guess we can wrap it up. We've been talking a long time.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming out.
Absolutely.
Oh, I used to tell my kids when they would pour off from my homebrew kegerator for me, not in a tiny glass like this,
Right.
but a regular glass, that they would be like, "Oh, it's too much foam," and I said, "Foam is future beer.
Exactly.
Don't worry,
Yeah.
foam is future beer."
Exactly.
And they've carried that with them forever. It's the best thing I ever taught my
A
kids.
full glass of foam will end up coming down to me.
There's beer in there.
That's
It's in there.
a quarter of a glass of beer.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Don't worry about
Yep.
it, kid. It was the first pour off a warm line.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's cool.
It'll be fine. Don't worry, I'll drink it.
That's right. All right. Thanks, fellas.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming down. Have a great weekend.
You too.
And we'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.